Patrick Anthony Manibusan and Darrell Jake Guerrero were arrested in January of last year after an incident occurred at Leo Palace Resort in Yona. According to court documents, Guerrero was found unresponsive by resort staff, causing management to call police for assistance. Upon arrival, GPD officers saw Guerrero on the couch, and in plain view were multiple bags containing a large amount of meth. Officers also saw a large amount of money, in which GPD secured the room and contacted the feds. Guerrero admitted that he was staying in the hotel room with Manibusan, who checked into the room under a different identity. When Manibusan returned to the hotel, he was apprehended by investigators at the Leo Palace gate. Further documents state $845 was found on Manibusan, and he admitted to smoking meth in the room with Guerrero. Detectives executed a search warrant and seized 330 grams of meth, 2 improvised glass pipes with suspected meth, drug packaging materials, and $4,095 from the hotel room. Documents state the circumstances indicate that the hotel room was being used to store and distribute meth. Guerrero is accused of being the source drug supplier, with Manibusan personally using meth and making sales. Both Manibusan and Guerrero pled guilty to possession of meth with intent to distribute charges. The co-conspirators were sentenced this afternoon at separate hearings in Chief Judge Francis Tidinko Gatewood's courtroom. For Manibusan, his clean record, mitigating role in the case, acceptance of responsibility, and his substantial assistance was praised by the court and the government. As stated in court, he has done well following supervision conditions for the past 10 months, and that prior to being charged, he entered a drug treatment program that he has since successfully completed. Additionally, it was noted that he has continued to work throughout his release, Assistant U.S. Attorney Laura Sambataro stating that Manibusan has earned the recommendation for a sentencing on the low end of the guidelines. The drug offender was sentenced to 37 months or 3 years in federal prison, followed by a 3-year supervised release term with no fine imposed. The court also placed 3 judicial recommendations for Manibusan to serve his time in the West Coast, continue with drug treatment, and to avail of vocational training. Manibusan addressed the court, stating that he was ready to change and apologized for his addictive behavior. While Manibusan's sentencing ended on a positive note, it was a lengthy hearing for Guerrero, as Attorney Sambataro called up DEA Task Force Officer Henry James with Guam Customs to testify on behalf of the defendant's involvement in a scheme to bring in contraband into the Department of Corrections during his 17 months in the Hagåtña detention facility awaiting sentencing. Several paid telephone conversations were brought into evidence and played back of Guerrero speaking with his mom and a man named Ben regarding alleged drug transactions. Despite numerous objections by defense counsel Jay Areola, the court allowed the government to proceed with questioning Officer James and playing back the phone call recordings. As heard in the playback, Guerrero allegedly set up a transaction directing his mom to call a number to pick up $300 to go towards 4 DVDs that each cost $150. Officer James stated that based on his experience and being familiar with coded language, he interprets 4 DVDs to mean 4 grams of meth suspected to be brought into the detention facility. During another phone recording, Guerrero is accused of discussing another drug deal involving 5 grams of meth inside a package for his mom to pick up. James testified that he recognizes Guerrero's voice based on prior interviews with the defendant, listening into many of his phone calls, and the individuals on the line addressing him as Darrell. The defense asked for continuance for cross-examination on the witness to, quote, further investigate the allegations brought forward today, unquote. The court granted the request and scheduled a return for Friday, May 28th at 10 a.m.